Hey YouTube, Dave here. Just want to offer my first face reveal, as the kids call it. My first video where I'm not really reviewing a watch. And the reason I'm not reviewing a watch is because I've burned through all my watches as far as reviews go, and I've downsized my collection a little bit. So I thought today I would offer a video on my watch collecting patterns as I've evolved over the last few years in my watch collecting. And I thought today maybe that would be helpful to you to maybe think about what kind of watch pattern of collecting you've developed, and maybe what I'll say relates to you. First of all, wristwatch check. I'm wearing today the Christopher Ward Trident Pro 600 that I've reviewed on here. Today I have it on a Hadley Roma rubber strap. The reason I have a rubber strap on it is I'm testing it out. I just got this in, and I have modified my Seiko SKX, and you can see a video review of that. And in modifying it, I'm not really sure about the water resistance anymore. I'm ready to go have that tested. But I thought, this sucker just came back from London, where I had the winder fixed. I had a 90-day repair issue with my Christopher Ward. And so they tested it, got it all airtight, watertight again. So I'm not cracking that sucker open. I'm going to use that for when I'm out this summer, go to the beach, swim in the pool, and I'll just throw the rubber strap on there for purposes of heat and sweat. And so this will be my go-to this summer. And I'm also enjoying a Romeo e Julieta, 1875 Reserva Real. It's been a long time since I really was into cigars. I used to know all about these things. Looks like maybe a Connecticut wrapper, not really sure. But it's a beautiful day here. I may smoke 6 or 8 cigars a year, and the first warm days that I usually try to get out here. It's been cooped up all winter and enjoy a good smoke. But let's talk about watch collecting the way I've done it. For me, watch collecting is very emotional, isn't it? I mean, you get hooked into it, and it starts out very emotional. It's not emotional for everybody. For some people, it's very logical. They know exactly what they're going for. But for most of us, I think, at least for me, it started as a very emotional thing. And then over time, your intellect starts to take over, and the best watches you get are the ones that balance those two out, the head and the heart. And then those are the watches that seem to last. But as I was thinking about how many watches, my first year, I probably had 20 watches come in and out. What was that about, right? And I began to think, it's a lot like relationships. And I've been married 21 years now, and I was thinking back to my days in college. And when I went to college, the first thing a girl told me was that nobody asks girls out. Okay. And if you would ask somebody out, they're going to say yes because they want a date. So I started asking girls out, and I had probably, a date every other week or a date a week. And we'd go out for Taco Bell, 39-cent tacos. Remember those days? Those were awesome. Tuesday night, half-price dollar movies, 50-cent movie, 39-cent tacos. Man, hey, it was great. So, you'd go out on a date, and you go on a lot of dates, right? And I realized that's kind of how I started out with this whole watch collecting. Very emotional, and a lot of dates with a lot of watches. So if you take the dating metaphor, there are 4 stages of watch collecting that I've experienced. The first is speed dating. The second is serious dating. The third is courting, and the fourth is marriage, right? And I've been in this relationship with different watches. So let's start with the speed dating. Speed dating with watches is where you wake up one morning, you're looking on the thread of what are you wearing today, and you see a watch and you just immediately fall in love. You watch 8 YouTube video reviews, and before you go to bed that night, you have bought the watch. It's on its way. And within 3 or 4 days, you're wearing that watch and you are madly in love for about a week, maybe 2. And then all of a sudden, this watch that you thought you were going to wear all the time falls into a regular rotation, and then it gets less and less and less and less and less. Before you know it, you're looking at the watch and you're thinking, I don't love it anymore. It's not the watch that I thought it was. And so you flip it. So those are the watches that within a month you discover it before you wake up one morning, you didn't even know the watches existed. By the end of the day, you're in love with it, you bought it, and then within a month you flipped it. I probably did 20 watches that way. Now, is that a stage you can avoid? I think it was necessary to my watch love to go through that. You know what I mean? To handle a lot of different watches. But it's the speed dating phase, and I tell you, it tends to limit itself to affordable watches. You have $200 in your PayPal account, and you see a $120 watch you love, and you just burn it. You got the money, and so you do it. And as soon as you flip one, and you get your account back up to a few $100s, and then you're buying another watch. So speed dating, you got to go through it, but it leaves kind of a hollow, empty feeling after a while. After a while, you're thinking, man, what's wrong with me? I was in love with every one of these watches instantly, and yet I look back on them now, I didn't love the watches. So I went through that, and then I started to slow down. So you know what? What would it mean if I slowed down and seriously found a watch I loved? So I did, and that usually happens when you move to the mid-range of buying your first Swiss piece. You don't want to impulse buy a Swiss piece, right? You don't want to spend $800-900 on a watch that you've got to flip in 2 weeks, because you're going to lose a lot of money. So then I started moved to the dating phase, the serious dating phase. So in the serious dating phase is when you find a watch you love, but you know that it may not be true love. So you take your time. You look at it over and over. You give it a few days rest so you don't even think about it, and then you come back to it, and then you leave it alone for a while, and then eventually you think, maybe this watch, you still feel an affinity towards the watch, and so you start seriously thinking about buying the watch, and then you start seriously shopping for the watch. This is one of those watches that you're a week or so into thinking you're in love, and you find the deal, right, and you hold off on the deal, and then you say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to show some discipline. For me, that watch was my beautiful Marathon. That was my first Swiss timepiece, and I looked at this thing for months because it was a $700 purchase, right? This wasn't a $100 Seiko that I was going to flip. I wanted to date this seriously, and in dating something seriously, you take your time getting into the relationship. Is this an emotional fad, or do I really love the watch? And I remember saying, I really love this watch, I'm going to buy it. And so I did, and I hear a train coming through. Sorry if that's making a lot of noise. Bought the watch. This is almost a year ago now, and I would say I'm seriously dating this watch. This doesn't mean I won't flip it or that we won't break up. Okay, we might. I'm seriously dating the Christopher Ward. I love the watch. It feels like a long-term watch. And when you're seriously dating a watch, you learn not to give in to that feeling that those days when you don't feel it for the watch. I mean, there are weeks, there may be a week or so where I don't wear this watch. I feel like I'm losing my love for this watch. Same thing with the Christopher Ward. And what I do is I'm not going to immediately flip it. I put it away in the watch box, wear other watches, and then I will commit to, after giving it some time, go a week without wearing it, and then committing to wearing it for 3 or 4 days in a row. And then you rediscover your love and your passion for that watch is rekindled, and that's the serious dating phase. And so my mid-range pieces, I would say, called me towards serious dating. Now, I'll be honest with you, during the serious dating phase, I did a lot of speed dating too. I bought the Bull of the Moon watch, fell in love with that, sort of an impulse. The Seiko 50 Fathoms modded watches, I went through several of those, even though I knew, man, this could be a fad. But I decided, so I was doing some speed dating at the same time. So you can be different phases, right, with these different different watches, right? So then I started thinking about the next phase, which is the courting phase. Now, what is the courting phase? Courting is dating with the idea that this could be the one. And what I mean by the one is this is the watch I could marry. So here's my definition of marrying a watch. This is a watch that I will keep for the rest of my life, and I will one day in my last will and testament will this watch to my child. A courting watch is a watch you're willing to get serviced. You know what I mean? In fact, when this watch and the Marathon need to be serviced, that's going to be the point of real serious introspection about the relationship. Is this true love? Is this long-lasting love? Is this one that, basically, is this a watch I want to hand down to my children? Is this the watch I want in my watch box when my funeral is over and my kids go back and they open up Dad's watch box and they're like, hey, let's look at Dad's watches. He loved these watches. And, my wife says, well, to my one son, he wanted this for you and he wanted this one for you. That's what I mean by a lifelong watch. But usually that servicing period, when it comes, that's when, you decide, do I really want to love this watch enough to be committed to servicing it? Or is it time to let it go? And so when you decide to let it go and you've been seriously dating a watch for a long time, it's kind of like what, I had a few long-term relationships in college, relationships that lasted near a year. And you don't break up over a fight, right? You don't break up because you just get mad one day like you do when you're speed dating or, you just, those quick relationships. Those are the kind where you still feel a lot of love for the person. You still care about them. But what happens? Your life goals start to change. You decide, I'm going to... you're going to be leaving, graduating, and moving off somewhere, and I've got different goals. We're heading in different directions. You have a different philosophy of life, and so you amicably break up, and it's painful, and you wish the best for that person, and you Facebook friend them 20 years later, like I've done, and you hope that they have had a good life, right? And that's what I hope for if I ever part ways with my Christopher Ward or my Marathon. If it turns out that our goals just go different directions, I need, I evolve into a different part of who I am, and I want to go a different direction, then, we'll break up. But it will be with a lot of love, right? The guy that sold this to me, he was speed dating. I mean, he wasn't speed dating this watch. He was courting this watch. And when he sold it to me, he sent me a lot of messages about, man, take care of this watch. It's a beautiful watch. It's going to serve you well. Man, I've had it for years, and I love this watch. And I know what he meant, right? That's how I'll be if I ever sell this watch or ever say goodbye to my Christopher Ward. So then, serious courting, I think you have to think in those terms when you start to buy luxury watches, at least if you're a person of very modest income and means like I am. That's when, when you start thinking about buying a serious timepiece, you got to skip the speed dating. You can't speed date a serious timepiece. You can't even seriously date. You're going straight to the courting, right? And so for me, that is my Omega Speedmaster. We are courting. We are on the path to getting married. What I mean by being a marriage watch, this is one that I'm going to keep the rest of my life, and it's going to be one of those watches that my kids inherit. I'm going to spend the ridiculous amount of money that it takes to service this watch every 8 to 10 years. I'm going to take care of it as a forever timepiece. Now, why am I not saying that I'm married to this Omega Speedmaster? Because as time goes by, this is definitely a multi-year commitment that I have to this watch, because it is a long-term grail watch for me. I love the Speedmaster. The way I feel right now, the way my watch goals are right now, the Omega Speedmaster will always be in my collection. That's how I feel today. Now, my life may change, my goals may change, my awareness and love of watches may change, and so that may change, right? So one day we may reach that point where we break up because I have even larger goals, you know, a Rolex or something like that that I want to achieve. And so maybe I don't know. That's why I say I'm courting. I'm courting this watch because it's a 45 millimeter. Um, it's the coaxial. It's not the Moonwatch Hesalite. You know, what if I determine that that needs to be the watch that I'm married to for long term? Then I may one day sell this watch. But where I stand right now, this is a forever watch. This is I wear this watch as if it's going to last me forever. So again, those are the 4 stages. Speed dating. Just be careful. You're going to lose a lot of money speed dating. So make sure those are affordables. Some people never leave speed dating. Some people have 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 watches in their collection, and they're all under $500 or $100, $200 watches. And in a sense, they've done speed dating by keeping them. They wear them once every month, maybe. That's not me. I decided I wanted more serious relationships with my watch. I didn't want to break up with them just because one day I woke up and that $100 watch just didn't do it for me anymore. I saw that happened so much that I finally said, you know what, I don't need any more. I don't want to have any more $100 watches. Watches that I look at and think, man, that's not this. You know, this is the quality in this is fantastic. I love my Christopher Ward. So this is a serious dating watch, one that I could see myself even courting one day and seriously considering keeping it forever. So the other 2 watches that I have are my Tissot Visodate, which I'm really being honest with you. My Visodate, I think I'm going to be breaking up. I haven't told her that my Visodate yet. I look at it and sometimes you wear it one day and it's beautiful, but secretly deep down, just like you did back in college, you think, I don't know, this relationship's not going to work. I have that feeling about it, but I'm not going to on an impulse sell it. I make sure I wear it for a weekend. The one more date I want with my Visodate on the Milanese bracelet is I want to wear shorts and a t-shirt and go on the beach. I'm trying to lose some weight. Man, lose 20 pounds, go on the beach, because I think that looks like a great casual, sporty watch. And maybe that's what I want. It's my only smaller watch. It's a 40 millimeter, but it really is about 36 millimeter dial. So it wears small on me, but I've got big watches here. I've kept it. Maybe that's the one that after a while I'll say, that's the watch. Or it could be one of my watch goals is a Hamilton 1971 or a Seiko 1971 because I was born in 1971. I want a birth year watch, and I want to buy a good one that that'll be a courting to marriage kind of watch. And so it may be that I have to let the Visodate go. My Seiko, it's just a heritage piece. I don't wear it a lot, but if I can get it well waterproofed, and that was my dog, wear it for a while, then I will use that. So anyway, so those are the 4 stages: speed dating, courting, and marriage. What stage are you? I'd love to hear. Leave some comments down below. Let me know if this clicks with you or describes yours or not. If you got another paradigm to think about it, I'd love to hear it. Take care. Have a great day.